Thank you, Ginger. So, so I guess we're all feeling the oneness right now, right? Uh, first the reading and a beautiful John Lennon song. And for those of you that were either here last week to be part of Bante's day with us, or if you had the opportunity to watch the YouTube video, you'll know that he talked to us about how to be peaceful in a turbulent world. Essentially, those are my words for what basically he was talking about. And he and I really had discussions about what he would talk to us about, because we're in very turbulent times, aren't we? And a lot of us are feeling anxiety and discord and just unrest. And we're in this season for joy, aren't we? And we want to really be in that place of love and peace, right? So how do we do that? And he did talk to us about that last week, and I just want to continue that conversation from my perspective. And it's interesting because when I was looking through Bante's book, Lessons of the Lotus, I didn't really know what I was going to talk about, and I always need to give our musician a topic, so I gave Ginger a topic, and then I realized that the reading was more about love than about whatever it was that I said to Ginger. I don't remember, but it was something about just holding peace in your heart, right? And so she comes along with this set list of songs that's just so absolutely perfect for what showed up in that reading. And the reading, for me, always informs my talk. So there's two pieces to that reading that really inspired me. And one was, how do we be at peace with others around us when we're holding feelings that of upset, right? This is a time of being with family and with close friends, and we're also just environmentally and politically and on the world stage in a place of a lot of ups and downs. But that's the world, and Bante actually said that. That's the world, and it's always going to be the world. So how do we hold peace in our heart? And if you listened really carefully to that reading, and if you've ever done a loving kindness meditation, you'll know peace starts first with us, right? And that meditation always starts within our own heart, right? And from there, we send loving kindness to those closest to us, which are our family members, right? And then we extend it further to people in our neighborhood, and it goes wider and wider, people in our community, in our state, in our country, the world, all beings everywhere, even on other planets and in other universes. That's the essence of that meditation. But where does it start? It starts right here, within us. We cannot love beyond ourselves until we love ourselves here, and we're at peace with ourselves. So how do we do that? How do we do that when we're invited to Christmas dinner and we haven't spoken to our sister in a year because there's some conflict going on there, or we're holding feelings of resentment toward maybe one of our parents, or maybe we are in a difficult situation at work and we need to go to work every day. Like, how do we stay in that place of peace? It's not easy, right? I'm pausing because I'm asking you to really think about that for a minute, and just think about how do you do that? You, each one of you here, right? Is it something that that you do, right? Before we go, say, to Christmas dinner where we know there's conflict in the family, even if it doesn't directly involve us. Bante talked about this. Do we center ourselves? Do we bring ourselves into peace within ourselves? And how do we do that? And one of the things I want to talk about, which is something that I really spend a lot of time doing myself over the years, it's become sort of a continuous practice for me, but it's what keeps me at peace and allows me to move out of my human feelings that maybe are, up and down, into a place of peace where I can be in harmony with others in my surroundings. And that really is directly connecting with what's going on inside of me and looking at me rather than the other person. All right, so what's happening for me? What is it within me that's causing me to be upset? We're very adept at looking at what other people are doing to cause us to be upset. We all do that. We learned that as children, how to do that, right? And of course, I'm expert at that. But I've learned how to stop and say, wait a minute, it's not about that other person. It's about what's going on within me. Why am I upset? What is it about what's happening to me, what that person is doing that is upsetting me? Because if I were an enlightened being, right? If I were the Buddha, or I were Ramana Maharshi, or somebody who is really, truly enlightened, meaning a person who's living in divine awareness as they're walking through the world, then nothing anybody does would bother me. Think about that, right? Even if there's war going on around me, we know people that can walk through the world and be at peace. Bhante is one of them. We know that Bhante travels to many different places in the world. And how does he do that? How does he remain in awareness when he's faced with disasters of such grand proportions where people, are living in rubble from earthquakes, and there's no water, and there's sanitation problems, and loss of life? How does Bhante walk into those situations and really maintain his divine awareness, right? He contemplates, he goes within. And if there's something bothering him, and he did speak about this, he looks at himself, right? There's nobody to blame for an earthquake, right? It's an environmental disaster, it happens. I mean, we can blame global warming maybe, but there's still nobody to blame. I mean, I guess we could conjure up corporations or whatever, but it's really about what's going on within us. So how do we look at our feelings, and how do we clear that so that we can be open and receptive to the divine that is the truth of our being? We all know that. We come here every week to remember that, to remind ourselves of that, really, and to remind each other that we know that we are divine beings, each and every one of us, right? But when we're in inner turmoil, emotional upset, we're not in that place, right? We're back in our human consciousness of sometimes blaming others, sometimes feeling sorry for ourselves, being the victim, sometimes being angry at someone for doing something to us or creating a situation. But what if we turned that around and looked at ourselves and said, what is it about this situation that's happening right now that is upsetting me? Instead of looking at the person, just look at, why am I upset about this? And how can we do that? We can do that in meditation. Sometimes it just arises. We have this idea that meditation should be this deeply mystical experience, and we should always be in the presence of what we think is the divine. Well, the truth is the divine is everything, right? Even our feelings of upset, that's a divine appearance. So if I'm in meditation and thoughts are coming up as I'm connecting with the divine, and thoughts are coming up from within me that I'm really angry at so-and-so, my sister or whomever, what do we do with that? Well, we can try to shift back and, be with the divine, but we can also go within and look at that and just be with that and feel what's happening in my body, right? We can go within, and oftentimes we can actually identify a place in our body where we're feeling turmoil. Oftentimes it's in our abdominal area, right? Third chakra, second chakra area. And we can just be with that. Just notice it. Just noticing alone will help it to move, right? We can feel the energy moving through our body, and it actually moves out. What happens after that? Peace starts coming in. Peace really does start coming in. And then we can be, again, the divine beings. We can actually see that within ourselves. Right? So if we're on our way to Christmas dinner and we're feeling anxiety, we can stop, we can do a brief contemplation, and we can look at our feelings and our emotions if they're coming up for us. What is this anxiety about? What is this knot in my stomach? What am I feeling? We can process it. Sometimes it takes some courage, because we often don't want to look at that, right? We don't want to know. If we just take a little bit of courage and look at it, we can see it for what it is, and then it dissipates. It really does. I can promise you it does, because I do it all the time. And then I can go to that event, that dinner, and I can be peaceful with my sister, with whom I may not have spoken to for months, because she's mad at me, or I'm mad at her, or whatever. We don't need to be mad at each other, right? But we do have to look at our feelings, right? So, to be in loving kindness, can we be in loving kindness if we're also harboring feelings of upset, discord, anger, resentment, all of those negative feelings? We really can't do both. We can't. But if we're honest with ourselves, right, and look deep within, that's what knowing thyself really is. It's really going within and knowing what's happening within. You know, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What are my beliefs? Right? If I have a judgment or an expectation that somebody should do something a certain way and they're not doing it that way because they have their own ideas, and I'm holding on to that expectation, I'm in judgment, right? I can't possibly be open and receptive to divine presence because I'm busy judging somebody and being angry, right? So what if I let that go? I can just let it be the way it is. Let all things be as they are. What's wrong with that? Right? Do we have to control everything? We really don't. We just need to be with it. Right? So, first thing we need, if we want to be at peace, is to have the intention to be at peace. All right? We need the intention, first of all. I want to be at peace within myself and with my family members. I want to have a peaceful day. All right? That intention is essential. After the intention, we just cultivate that. And if it requires dealing with our feelings, we deal with them. You know, another way besides contemplation and meditation, we can sit down and write out our feelings. And we can ask questions. What is it about this situation that upsets me? Or even what is it about this person that is upsetting me? And see what comes out. And there's a way of journaling where we journal and we're coming from our mind, and eventually spirit, if we journal, say for a page or two, spirit will start talking to us, right? It's called intuitive journaling. And we could do that too. We could just sit down and write and write and write and see what shows up. You know, and something unexpected may show up. You know, maybe some interaction you had with as a child that you weren't really aware of shows up, and you say, oh, you know, I didn't realize I was carrying this in my awareness. So it's just something else you can try. You can also pray, of course. We can always pray, affirmative prayer. Right? The point is to be at peace within ourselves. Right? There are many, many spiritual practices we can bring forth to do that. And once we're at peace with ourselves, then we can be at peace with everyone around us. Right? So that's the other piece of that reading. The first piece is be at peace with ourselves. The second part of that is when we are in that divine awareness within our own being, we do radiate loving kindness out to all other beings. And it's a natural process. We don't even need to think about it. We just are being that divine presence. Okay, so I invite all of you, as you know, we're in the midst of the holiday season now, right? We're in the hustle and bustle of it. I invite all of you on a daily basis, each and every one of you, to just pay attention to what's going on within. All right? Have an intention for peaceful interactions every day. If you're feeling any inner turmoil, just be introspective about it and see what comes up for you. And then the third piece of that is be aware of the truth of your being. I am a divine child of God. I am awareness, and this is who I am. And I radiate that forth just in my being. Okay, thank you.